Okay, so my last video was just a really quick walk through of my pottery studio, but I wanted to take some time to go over some detail items because I know as I was doing some walk around, some of you that may be looking to set up your own pottery studio, some things may have caught your eye, so I want to try and capture as many details as I can to share with you. My crazy boxers are saying hi. So please excuse any noise that they may cause because they think they need attention constant. All right, so starting over here at my wheel throwing area. Like I said, I have my wheel right now pushed up against the wall. Normally I will turn it facing out the window because I like to be able to keep an eye out for my babies out there. And it's just kind of nice to be able to, see what, have a nice view outside while you're throwing. So I've got that. This is a Shimpo VL Light. This is not the original wheel I wanted. But since I bought it during the pandemic, the one that I wanted was completely out of stock. And it was going to be several months. So this was my second choice, which I'm really happy with. The only thing that I think I would change is I would love to be able to have a bigger well on it. So this does come, it has the pan that comes apart, which is really nice for cleaning. But it is tight, so I really would love to have a pan that would cover this full table. But for what I'm using it for, this is perfect. It's been a really good workhorse. I did try to raise it at one point, didn't like it, so I took it back down to the original height. This little cart here, I believe I got it from Amazon, and they have things that are similar at Michael's and such, but I like this one because it came with these little cups. So I've got my, just different things up here. I also got, this is a nice little buy from Dollar Tree, I believe. So I've got like my, all of my throwing tools in here, my sponges and my ribs and everything. Down bottom I store this is actually what I use for my bats. These are cutting boards. They were rectangular and had a handle. My husband chopped them off for me and then drilled the holes in here, and they fit on my wheel. They just pop on and off. And then he got me just a little spatula tool that it helps me pop them off if they get stuck. This bowl, I love having this for throwing. Got it at Walmart. It's a 2-piece colander bowl. This works perfect because if I'm dropping any bigger pieces in, then when I go clean out, I can salvage that out and throw it in my reclaim bucket and just toss the water. And it also keeps me from throwing away my tools back. I also added a pool noodle with some slices in it so that I have a place to stick my tools as I'm throwing. My cookie cutters, I have those on a pegboard. I believe these pegboards came from Lowe's. They were a little pricier than what I would have paid for them, but my husband got them for me. But they work out really good for my cookie cutters. One thing I did want to point out here, this is oops, I'm dropping things already. This is found over, I believe, in the concrete area, and it's actually a lot longer. It's like a scoop. I cut it off, and I actually use this to help scoop my water out of my pan. It just makes it a lot easier to clean up. And then I also just, as a little extra tip, recommend if you're throwing that you take these big sponges, and I've just cut them in half and I put one in each side. That helps to soak up some water, especially if you throw with a lot of water like I do. I make a huge mess. And because of that, I got some of this foam board, and I use that to contain my splatter. as I'm throwing. So that folds up really easy and goes back behind my little storage unit there. So that works out. Tries it at least makes the splatter that you see a little less intense. Speaking of the storage unit, so this is a shoe like container or something you'd put in your closet to store your shoes in. I got this at a thrift store for maybe $3. And then I went to Dollar Tree and bought these little baskets, which fit perfect. And so I store just some tools in here that I don't use on a regular basis. This is a really nice use of a reclaimed piece. And it is actually, I'm going to try and get down here. It is actually attached. I have it screwed onto, this is just a bar stool. And then on that bar stool, I also added just a couple little pieces of my flooring, the scrap that was left over, so that I can have a couple of extra little shelves. So in this kind of space, you want to maximize all your storage units. So I'm even looking at adding some shelving up here, some little small shelves up here. And any place I see like an empty space, I'm trying to figure out how to use it. I had this chalkboard left over from my son's wedding, and of course nobody wants all the wedding stuff. So I took it, chopped off the legs, and attached it to my wall. And I've got my chalk marker here, so if something comes up that I'm, want to take a quick note on while I'm over here working, then I'm able to note it up there. Trying to figure out what to do with this bread box, but I'm thinking maybe doing a slow dry box or a damp box for smaller items. I'm still brainstorming on how to transform that into something, or I may just use it for dry storage of something. My slab roller here, this is a portable unit. It's the North Star portable. It's like the lower price one. Really good starter slab roller. It's pretty lightweight. It comes apart and you're able to store it, but I did decide to keep it out because I'm using it more. And I have it on this cart that's dedicated to it now. And then down bottom, I've got some of my clay that I have yet to tap into. So this is brand new clay. Got it stored down here along with some tools. This is on wheels, so this is very easily moved around. Behind here, I've got just a small shelf. I use this while I'm throwing so that I can put my throwing pieces up here, and then when I'm done, I can move them to my drying rack. My husband cut me a good bit of it. All this is like 20 or quarter-inch plywood, and he cut me some 6x6 wire boards, some 12x12s, and then a handful of 24-inch square ones. These are really come in really handy for when I'm cutting or rolling things on my slab roller, or if I'm hand building something a little bit larger. Gives me a lot more room to put them on. Of course, plastic. I feel like I have like so much plastic, and then I feel like I don't have enough sometimes. So I've got this. This is just like an IKEA plastic bag storage. I've got some of my plastic there. Some of my bigger, thicker plastic for my slab rolling is up top. These are just some, I want to say I got these at Dollar Tree, but it's like a cleaning cloth. It's like a Echo cleaning cloth. I can't even remember what it's called, but it's filled with kitty litter. These are my weights, so if I'm doing a plate or bowl or platter or something I'm trying to keep from warping, then I'll use this on here. I want to say Jessica from Glacier gave me this idea, and then I've just got them zip tied. So if I decided to zip tie them in case, they ever, I don't know if you need to actually replace the litter, but just in case, I can always clip those off and refill them if I need to. My drying cart, so this is Frankie. Yes, I named him. He's a product of baby bed upcycle. This was a baby bed that we had for my granddaughter, and she, of course, outgrew it. So I took it, turned it on its side, added a couple of handles that we already had on hand. I didn't have to buy anything. Added, see, I actually used the baby bed springs to help stabilize it. And then these boards here, these are all scrap boards that I'm using for shelves, and I just added a little L bracket, small L bracket to the end. And what that does is when you put it in here, it will not slide off. So that works really good. And then I can move these around. Right now, these are bisque pieces that are in here that I kind of spilt a whole lot of slip on, so I had to wash them. And so they've been in there drying so that I can glaze those. Then down bottom, I made, on my cart, this is actually 2 shower curtains. I got some clear Gorilla tape and tape these up. And then I use these little clips to clip them down. And then on the very bottom of this drying rack, there's a sheet of plastic to help dry it, kind of, it's not airtight, but it helps to keep the moisture in a little bit better. The thing I would do different with this, I did find where you can actually get the paint plastic, the plastic you put down for painting, and they have a zipper unit that you can put on those. So that is going to be my next change on this. This has worked okay, but it's definitely starting to come apart. And I've had to put some tape on, a little extra tape on it just to keep it together. So I think on that next one, I'm going to go and get some of the thick mill plastic for painting and then get that zipper unit and probably put 2 zippers so that I can actually roll up the entire size. So right now I have to pull this completely back and I still have limited access. And but it's worked fine, and I've learned a couple of lessons on it. So that's going to be my next change. And this is also on wheels, so I can move this to clean up under it, which makes it really nice. There are a couple of things I was going to point out to you in here. We had several of these little drawer units, and what I did was I poured some plaster in here to have these as down boxes. The one thing that I've realized is getting this press and seal. If I'm putting something in here and I've wet it and I'm trying to keep it damp, this press and seal works really good just to seal that up. This is from my last, so this would be replaced if I put something else in here. But that's kind of nice. I've just poured maybe an inch, 3/4 to an inch of plaster in here. And this is pottery plaster, it's not Plaster's Paris. But that has worked really well for small pieces. And then I've also got a plaster slab here, and I use this for my reclaim, so it's pretty dirty now. All this is stain from other clays. But it is actually in one of these containers. My husband had a ton of these that he just gave me. So I poured plaster in one of these to use as that drying slab. So if I've got some wet reclaim, I'm trying to get it dried out some so I could use it, then that's what I use that for. And it's a pretty heavy piece too. Sink. So this sink is tied into an irrigation system that we did not use. We never were able to figure out how to turn it on for the house, so we ended up just redirecting that line over to my studio. So this sink didn't cost me a dime. It came out of my laundry room. Laundry room was just too small to have a sink this size in it. It was just taking up too much room. We didn't really use it other than throwing things in it. So it ended up sitting outside for probably a couple of years. It was white, and then I repainted it with some black fusion paint. It's holding up pretty good, given the amount of abuse this poor thing takes. It does not have a drainage system, meaning it doesn't drain into our septic system. What I do have in that place is a bucket. So this bucket is just a 5-gallon bucket. And I believe this is like a honey filter to capture big debris and stuff and dirt. And then my husband added me on this view, this leveler, so you can see the level of the water in here. I have flooded out the studio a couple of times because I didn't realize it was full. So I did get this little, it's an alarm. It's a battery operated alarm, and it's a water level alarm. And so when I'm using my water a lot, I actually have this clipped on, and then once it hits the level of wherever the little wire is, it will sound an alarm to let me know it's time to dump the water. The only modification we had to make on the sink to get this to work is my husband had to cut out one side of this metal just to give that bucket room to slide under there. So when I do pull that out, I have a stopper here that I stop in to make sure no extra water's running out on my floor. These little things, I know you probably saw them around. I got these at Dollar Tree, and every time I find them, I buy a handful of them because they make for good little hangers. They fit on my windows perfect. I've actually got several over here, like laddered up for my rolling pins. So Dollar Tree has these. They're really good to have on hand. I was trying to get one taken apart to put paper towels on, but they're not made to do that, but I know there's got to be a way to do that, so working on it. This little shelf thing, I went ahead and added this. This is from the tension pole shower caddy from my kiln room. And I just needed a little ledge, a little extra ledge to put some stuff on. So that's there. The sink, I equipped it with, it's just a metal hose, and got this adjustable nozzle head, which is great because depending on what I'm cleaning off, I may need more pressure or less. And then I just attached these hanger. I think these came from Dollar Tree too. I just attached one of these by drilling a hole in, and that gives that a place to sit. And then if I ever need this like running constantly, then I can just clip this little thing. But yeah, this is a pretty good sink. Runs down in there. I did purchase a Bosch water heater. I want to say this is a 4-gallon water heater. I got it from Amazon. Works perfect. I always have hot water out here, which is great for when you're working with cold clay and stuff. What else? I've got this little folding table. I think right now I've just got it folded up, but this is a good heavy. This is actually a pet grooming table. For some reason my mother-in-law bought it and she didn't even have dogs, but I guess she saw a need for it at some point. I'm actually going to use it for my slip pouring table because it is so heavy duty, and those slip molds are so heavy, so I think that's going to work out great for that. I have a couple of shelves up here. I actually use these shelves for staging anything that's going into the kiln next. So I'll just get all my pieces lined up there, and then once they're ready, I'm ready to do a firing, then I'll right here close to the kiln, and I can get that in there. A few things on this rack here. Use some pipe insulation just to store these mixer paddles on. I use this, it's more for mixing up my reclaim or mixing up my slip. I don't use any dippable glazes, at least not yet. I probably will get there at some point, but right now I'm just using brush. But yeah, these were super cheap from Amazon too. I think I got like 10 for $7 or $8. I will tell you too, I know you probably see this liquid latex. I got this thinking I could do something with it. It's useless. Don't even waste your money on trying to do anything with liquid latex. Okay, so this shelf here, I only purchased the food safe buckets, and these come from, I think Home Depot is the ones that carry this. The reason I get food safe isn't because I'm worried about my clay being kept in containers, but because the food safe containers actually have gaskets. So you get an airtight seal, and so your clay does not dry out in these. So if you're storing any clay in buckets, definitely get the food safe ones because you're going to get the airtight ones, whereas the others, air can still get in. So you'll see that little rubber gasket around the top. Always keep rags. These box of rags are great to have on hand. I go through them like crazy, and then I just throw them away. But for the things that aren't throw away, I do keep a container in here that I can put my used towels in here so that I can wash those in a separate wash. This pull-out trash can, I actually just have this zip tied onto this rag. And this pull-out trash can, this is great to have. I also use these little shower curtain hooks everywhere to hang stuff. Works out great. Let's see here. So let's look at the kiln room. So the kiln room, like I said, we built this for safety in mind first. And also keeping in mind that I may actually want to be out here working at the time that my kiln is firing. What we did is, this is just a bifold closet door, and I painted it with chalkboard paint just to have something to be able to write stuff on. So my granddaughters have had fun with it. And then the kiln room itself, I store my kiln card in here when I'm not using it, but when I am using it, this comes out and my step ladder comes out. But I store this in here as well, because otherwise this was unused space. So, concrete floor blocks or pavers for the floor, concrete board for the, or cement board for the walls and the ceiling. I do have a puck light in here. This tension rod shower caddy, I think I got this from Goodwill for like $5. It was ridiculous, so I grabbed it. And because it's metal, I felt safe about putting it in here, so I stored my post here. And then if I pull this out, I was just going to show you a little bit closer. I'm doing this one-handed, so this isn't ideal. I'm going to show you a little bit closer what this vent looks like. So when I go to fire, I will come over and open this, and then I'll just take this piece and set it out of the way. But this is my vent. So, you know, you can't have birds and stuff flying in here, but it allows the outdoor air to come in for circulation. Well, come back to that. So this exhaust fan, got this, I believe, off Amazon as well. It's plug-in. When we had them run the power, we purposely had them put a plug here. Have metal covers on both of these plugs. And so this exhaust fan is adjustable, so low, medium, high, and everything in between. And then it's got those shutters that open and close. But as soon as I turned that on, I felt the blast fare down here at my legs where the vent is. So that's the kiln room. Okay, my workstation. So this desk is actually a freebie from a job I used to work with. They were going to throw them away. They're IKEA desk, and they're the adjustable ones. So The legs would adjust, I want to say up to maybe about 30 inches high, but I needed to go up. I want to say this is about 42 inches high, maybe. So my husband just drilled there was additional material in there in the past where where IKEA had it set to be adjusted to. So we took it up as far as we could. And then the self-leveling feet, I raised those as high as I could. I'm almost 6 foot tall, so I wanted to be able to work standing up here if I wanted to. Painted this. This paint's not holding up too great, but doesn't really matter because it kind of adds a little bit of character in here. But this was a freebie, and I want to say it's not so freebie at IKEA because I think this is one of the pricier ones. So this has worked out really well. These are floating shelves here. And I just had these wire frames from some storage baskets. And so I just set them on top there, and they've worked out really good. They're good and sturdy. And it gives me some space to store some stuff up under there. Silicone mat. These silicone mats are great. I've got a cut mat here. Great for easy cleanup on things. I'll either glaze over here. I'll do some other little things over here as well. Anyway, it's a really good workstation, very efficient. This file cabinet, same thing. I got this from a place I used to work with. I use that to store tools and paperwork and stuff in, especially like my kiln paperwork, which I go to on a regular basis. My husband gave me this grinding wheel. I didn't want to spend the money on a diamond core grinder, so this works out really good for what I need right now. I did purchase a new small, I want to say this is a half gallon, maybe a 1 gallon air compressor. And I originally got it thinking that I may eventually do some airbrushing on glazing. Don't think I'm going to do that so much, but I found it comes in really handy with popping pieces out of the slip molds. Sometimes they get stuck and you just need a little shot of air to pop them out. So that's what I've been using that for so far. Got my slip molds under here on some heavy duty shelves. And so this right now is working out. Eventually, depending on how many more slip molds I end up with, I may end up having to do a little lean-to on my building. This old CD rack, right now I've got some foam stored on it. Magnetic boards with these little magnetic hooks. These are really great to have on hand, and get some smaller kind of weird stuff out of your way. Of course, my mask I use when I'm pouring plaster, so keeps that out of the way. So my shutter here, this was from an antique store. Didn't cost me very much at all, but I used these little spring clips to hold mine. If I see texture, especially placemats, I grab them. I don't know, I'm kind of gravitated to them because they can make such cool dishes. So I store those up here, but behind this serves a dual purpose. Behind this is my circuit box. So my circuit box, I wanted it to be easy to get to, but not waste the space that's over it, because I need to utilize every bit of space for storage in here. So I decided to use that to store my placemats on. I do have a split unit. You're going to see this little heater on the desktop right now because it's freezing in Georgia. First time since like 2014 it's been this low. And my split unit was blowing out cold air, so it just wasn't keeping up. So I brought this little heater out here to warm it up while I'm out here, and I keep it on low too, just to make sure my glazes and my clay don't freeze. So keeping that temperature above freezing. Let's see what else we got. This shelf here, this is actually an old transom window. I have dragged this around so many houses trying to figure out what to do with it, and I finally just decided to hang it up as a shelf, and it's worked really good here. Added some LED lights. This LED light is amazing. I got this from Amazon, and you can change the types of light. You can have the warm, the cool, the white, and it's also got the magnifier on it, which is great for people like me that wear glasses and tend to lose them. What else? Oh, I was going to show you. So I just put this up today. I was trying to figure out what to do for my my sample tiles. And so I was like, I have all these little rafters sticking out. I could do something here. So these glazed tiles that I have, they have this little hook here. These are actually a business card extruder mold, but I'm using them for test tiles, which has been great because, you know, they're good size. But I decided to run some wire. I had some heavy gauge wire, and so I decided to run these, and then I'm separating them according to the kinds of clay. So I've got one clay here, and I'll fill that in. I've got another clay here, and then as I go back, here's the clay here, and then I have another kind of clay here. So by the time this is all up, I'll have full lines of test tiles that are really easy to see. And you can pull them down, and what I do is I number them, and then I have a log so that I can see what kind of clay and how many coats and which glaze that is. So that's my glazed test tile area. You'll see these little bottles up here. This is mica. I just bought this. I'm just wanting to experiment a little bit. So if any of you have any tips on using mica in your pottery, let me know. I know it's probably going to end up firing out a lot if I do it pre-fire, but there may be some other ways to use it too. But I just love the way mica looks, and so wanting to play around with that a little bit. So I bought these little shelves. These are picture lead shelves. I got these at Walmart. I want to say it was like $16 for 2 of them. So got those up. These little tiered shelves here, I believe I got these at Walmart too, and they extend out. So I use these for my glazes and my mason stains. Quickly running out of room, so I may have to get me some more shelves put up here too. This little tiered shelf, this came from Joann's. This I want to say it's called a 4-level stadium unit. So they had it there. It was super cheap. Can't remember how much I paid for it, maybe $10, $15. But that was a really good find. Also have these more of these little drawer units. These are really nice to have for smaller stuff. And then let's see. So got these little bins at Amazon, and I kind of bounced around a little bit and used these for different things. And then I finally, when I started slip casting, decided to put my bands and my straps and stuff in here. And I just have it sitting up here so I could, you know, move this whole unit. And I'm hardly ever over here, so I don't think this is going to be knocked off. But I just have it sitting here, and then I put some Gorilla Tape on the back just to hold them together, because I didn't want them like tumbling over. But yeah, so these are actually turning out a lot more useful as band holders. This palette shelf, I actually got it with the kiln. I'm pretty sure that's where it came from. And I just put a thin sheet of, I don't know, this like 1/4-inch ply on the back, just keep things from falling through. But I have like my jars of slip. I've got my wax resist, my sodium silicate, and just some different jars and little bottles down there. So that comes in, it's a really nice little area. It holds these jars, you know, almost perfect. So that came in handy. For my extruder, we did have to do some reinforcement back here. These are like 1/8 inch oh no, 3/16. I can't remember how, but it's wall panel. If you're interested in this wall panel, this is, it came from Home Depot, and I believe they call it the shiplap wall panel. It comes pre-primed. We painted it white to match the rest of it. It's like an antique white. You probably can't tell. And so back behind here is just like 3 inches of insulation. And then we got, of course, wiring in there. But we needed to, and then of course I think they use mostly like, I think it's 2x4s in the walls here. So there wasn't a lot of beef behind here. So we did add this thick piece of plywood when we put the extruder up, and it's solid as a rock. I mean, I could hang on here and it wouldn't budge. Did add a ruler down here just to have that visual in case, in case I needed to make sure I got a certain length. Most of everything I've been doing has just been test tiles out of there so far. But I love this extruder. I hate that they're no longer making these. This is a Crackpots. Wonderful tool. I mean, it's beefy, and it was about half the price of everybody else's. So I found this material on Amazon. I'm going to use it to try and make some dies myself. Okay, my workbench. So this cost me nothing. It was my husband's. We did add this top to it just to give it a little bit beef to it. This is great for wedging clay. It has a little bit of absorbency to it, but not too much. We did put some deck finish on it just to give it some durability, and it will absorb some liquid if you're wedging clay, but it doesn't suck it out, which is really nice. And to make it a little bit easier, I have this little stub stool. My father-in-law actually gave this to me. Nice stub stool, so I'm able to get up here when I'm wedging and get some good muscle down, because I don't have a lot of upper body strength, so got to leverage it really well. These plastic bins, I use these to store my clay in. I do keep them in the bags. These hold 25 pounds exactly, really well. Like I said, it'll hold a bag of 25 pounds pretty well. And these came from Walmart. My only gripe about these is they're not airtight. So I'm kind of thinking about seeing what I could do to make them airtight, because I like the containers. They fit perfect on my shelf, but I've got to be able to keep my clay at a good consistency, and I've noticed that it's dried out some. My shelves, these were all free. These came from my father-in-law. Just really nice small shelves put up against the wall. Can't have too many shelves. These plastic rolling pins are junk. If you see these, don't buy them. I'm actually probably going to end up tossing them. They're really not good for anything other than maybe really small projects. And the reason being, that holder's falling off. Reason being is they have these really obvious seams, and I just don't like those. So if you ever have a choice, go with the wooden ones. They're a lot more durable. These are actually plate holders, and you can see I've had some trouble getting these up because they don't have any really good hanging space. So I'm going to have to come in and put some better screws in here. But I just had these plate holders and figure why not put them to use. This shelf is actually like a library shelf. I got it from a school yard sale for like $10, probably 10 or 12 years ago. And it's been sitting in storage. And so I wanted to kind of dress up. So I found these napkins. So my studio is called Dragonfly Whispers. And there's a story behind that, and maybe I'll share it one day. But I found these napkins online, they had these little dragonflies, and I love the colors. And so I just decoupaged them, and they had this really cool little edge here. And I just decoupaged this shelf just to kind of dress it up and make it interesting. But I use this. I'll pick up things that I feel like I can use as drape molds, or anything. I made some drape molds. Got my sample plates up here right now. I'm probably going to find a place to hang those up. Got my slip, my buckets of slip here. I got a bucket of plaster. My GR pottery forms are here. I know somebody's going to fuss at me for having vacuums out here, but I'm very responsible with this. I only do clean up out here as far as clay goes with this wet mop. So I have multiple of the mop head, or whatever you would call it. I've got multiple of these. And so I'll wet this and I'll do all my cleanup of my clay. But because of our big yard and our dogs, I end up tracking in a lot of dirt from outside. We also have a good bit of spiders around here. So I use that vacuum to clean up yard debris. So please don't, stress out about that. The wet dry vac is here because, like I said, I've actually flooded my sink. So it makes it a lot easier to be able to clean it up with wet dry vac. This little table down here, this is just a junk nightstand or something. I added some wheels to it, and I just use it to put, there again, some of my plaster type mold things that I pick up. If I see something I think would make a really cool plaster mold, I'll grab it. So a lot of them haven't been used yet. Or I'm in a drape mold or something. Or, some of these tapes you can find at the Dollar Tree. They make cool rim templates. So I just have those stored in a couple of crates there. And of course, fire extinguisher is a must. I do have this a nice little broom and dustpan set there. I keep some old towels out here just to have them to clean up as I need to. And then a place to hang my aprons on. So, there again, there's my dragonfly motif. And I think that's pretty much it. I do store some things at the edge of my lofts right now, but my husband is going to build me a step ladder that I can move from side to side, so that I can utilize that entire loft area. So I could store some of the things up there that I don't use on a regular basis. And like I said, I've got 2 lofts. So this loft actually goes all the way to the front of the building. So this is an 8-foot loft, and this is an 8-foot loft, and then 12-foot wide. So there's a good bit of room up there that I want to be able to use. We did put in some really good LED lights. We've got the bar lights up top, and then we've got these little puck lights down bottom. And then I also chose to go with the galvanized ceiling, which we put up. And it's really nice because it reflects the light down, and yet it's not like blinding. So that's nice to have. Oh, my stool. So this is my throwing stool, but I actually sit on this for everything because it's adjustable. So it will adjust all the way down to my throwing height, which of course is low. And I believe I got this on Amazon too. It's got this saddle seat, which is great for my back because it's got that little lumbar support there. But then it's good and stable. Doesn't have rollers on it because you would end up being pushed off from the wheel. But yeah, it's got this nice little footrest. So that's a really nice ad. I'm glad I bought it. But yeah, I think that is pretty much my studio in a nutshell. If you have any questions, feel free to comment, shoot me a message. I'll try and grab some of the links of where I bought a good bit of this stuff and add it to the description. But thank you for watching.